President, please be seated. The court is now in session. Today the chamber continues to hear the remainder testimony of Madame Suthani. And we begin to hear the testimony of 2TCCP 230. Ms. Sakolbute, could you please report the attendance of the parties and other individuals at today's proceedings? Grazie, Mr. President. For today's proceedings, all parties to discuss are present. Mr. Nunchir is present at the holding cell downstairs as he waives his right to be present in the courtroom. His waiver has been delivered to the greffier. The civil party who is to conclude her testimony today, that is Madame Hun Sithani, is present and ready to testify. Today we also have a reserve civil party, that is 2TCCP 230. Thank you. President, thank you. The Chamber now decides on the request by Nunchir. The Chamber has received a waiver from Nunchir dated 27th May 2015, which notes that due to health condition, that is backache and headache, he cannot sit or concentrate for long, and in order to effectively participate in future hearings, he requests to waive his rights to participate in and be present at the 27 May 2015 hearing. He advises that he has been advised by his counsel that in no way the waiver can be construed as a waiver of his right to be tried fairly or to challenge any evidence presented or admitted during his trial. Having seen the medical report of Nunchi by the duty doctor for the accused at the ECCC dated 27 May 2015, who notes that Nunchi has a constant back pain and dizziness and cannot sit for long, and recommend that a chamber shall grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings from the holding cell downstairs. Pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rule, the chamber grants Nunchi his request to follow the proceedings remotely from a holding cell downstairs by an audio-visual means. The AV unit personnel are instructed to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that Nunchi can follow the proceedings remotely. That applies for the whole day. The Chamber now hands the floor to the political lawyers for civil parties to continue putting questions to this civil party. You may proceed. Civil party lawyer. Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors, and everyone in the courtroom. And once again, good morning, Madam Civil Party. Before I continue putting more questions to you regarding the working conditions at the first January Dam work site, I have a few questions to put to you regarding the children in the second unit. You stated that children were forced to work at the work site as well. So what were they asked to do at the dam work site? Answer. The children were instructed to do the same work as that of the adults, and they received the same food ration. They did not care that they were children. Everything was the same, that is, the working condition and the food ration. They did not consider their young age or their weak strength. They did not have any sympathy for those children. Question. Can you tell the court if you saw, heard, or observed that some children fell sick from overwork? Answer. You can imagine when young children worked as hard as the adult, so their health condition actually deteriorated dramatically, although they tried their best to do the work. And when they fell sick, no one actually came to visit them. All of them had to leave the sleeping quarter out into the fields to carry the earth. Every time the adults and the children had to actively work, and that was reinforced through the announcement on the loudspeaker that all workers had to work actively. Question. If I am not mistaken, you saw children fell sick from overwork. What kind of measure taken for those sick children? For instance, any medical staff were sent to check up on them or to provide them with treatment? Answer. No. There were no special medical staff. However, there were some medical staff who gave injection from an orange juice-like bottle to the children. Question. I'd like now to return to the line of questioning regarding your working condition at the dam work site. You stated that you worked at 3 different locations. First, near Evidentiary Pagoda, then near the National Road, and third, you worked near the river. What kind of work were you instructed to do at these 3 separate locations? Answer. At the work site, I was instructed to carry earth, to dig the ground, that was the kind of work that I did there. We were not allowed to be idle or to be free at all, and we had to compete with other workers from other villages. And actually, we overworked. Sometimes I fainted while working, so other workers would come to support me and to give me some physical massage or to pull to my hair to wake me up. The condition was terrible. The food that was given to us was insufficient, but we had to try to work as we were instructed to do so in order to survive. If we didn't try our best to work, then we would not survive. That was kind a a testbed location to strive to try our endeavor in doing the work. And we try to put as much earth as possible onto the baskets in order to win the workers from other villages who were working nearby. And as a result of overwork at that work site, I still have my back pain and lumbago at the moment. Whatever I did at the time was to survive. Question. You said that you tried your best to work and you did whatever you could. Can you tell the court, were there a set of working hours for all the workers there, and was there an adequate rest time? Answer. While I was carrying earth at Tribunal, we woke up by a whistle at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we started working at 5. We stopped for meal at 11, and we resumed at 1, and we continued until 5. Then at 6 p.m. we started again, and we continued until 10. And when we had to work at a location near the national road, it was quite a far distance, so we had to wake up by a whistle sound at 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was so tired from the previous night, and sometimes we were sleeping, and sometimes some of us fell down while walking to the work site, and we were then scolded by the unit chief. And of course, from what we observed, the unit chief didn't work as hard as we did, as sometimes during the daytime the unit chief would disappear somewhere to rest. And of course, we didn't dare to ask where he went to. So we had to start walking to the work site at 4 o'clock in the early morning. And as you imagined, the early morning time was the best time for everyone to fall asleep. And on some days, when I was so tired, I didn't care about taking a bath. I slept in my working clothes. And when I woke up in the morning, I didn't care about the change. I just continued to work. And every day we heard through the loudspeaker again and again that we had to actively engage in hard work. And we were working very hard until the work there completed. And it was even more pitiful for those who were blind at night, as they could not work properly at night time, and that they sometimes had to work during the lunch break in order to compensate for the difficult time for them at night. For instance, they only took half an hour lunch break and continued working again. And at night time, those who were blind at night had to dig the ground and put the earth onto the carrying baskets. And there was no sympathy whatsoever for them. How come we were treated so inhumanely? Question. While you were working there, what was the food ration like? Was it sufficient? Answer. In terms of the food ration, there's nothing much to say. You can imagine how many flies there were during the hot month of April and May. You could hear the combined sound of flies as they were bees making sound. And every ladle of soup that was placed onto a bowl contained many flies. And we had just to pick the flies one by one out of the soup bowl. And we had to eat whatever left in the bowl. And as for the rice, we were only given a peck of rice each. Question. You said there was no sanitation at the work site and there were too many flies. And do you know the reason for the flies? Was it due to the lack of sanitation? Answer. There was no sanitation at all at the work site as the workers relieved themselves here and there. And that was the reason for the crowd of flies. I could not describe enough about the awful conditions at the work site in terms of sanitation. Question. Were toilets built for the workers to use at the work site? Answer. During the first few months that we worked at the work site, there was no toilet. And only until end of April, then a mobile wooden toilet was brought in from a village for us to use. And the waste, the human waste, was then used as fertilizer. As for water, the only source of water that we could drink was the water from the river. And of course, thousands of workers from upstream, from downstream, had to drink the same water from the river. Question. So you had to drink water from the river and there was no boiled water provided to the workers? If the Khmer rules didn't boil the water for the workers, were the workers themselves allowed to boil water to drink? Answer, no. And there was no time for us to boil water. We didn't have any pot to boil the water. We didn't have any firewood. So everyone had to go and find the water to drink from the river by himself or herself. And the only food that was provided was the rice and a little soup. And sometimes, because of the dirt in the water, sometimes I had to close my eyes to force myself to drink the water. And I would not believe if anyone working there said he or she drank any bowl of water. You can imagine there were tens of thousands of workers from the three sectors working at that construction site. Question. You were required to work hard. There was no sanitation, the food was not sufficient, and there was no boiled water for the workers. Did you see any worker who became sick? Answer. Workers from my village, there was one man who was an old person, died from overwork. He worked too hard and he was unmarried at the time, and he would just do whatever he was assigned to do, even if to manually break rock. And as a result, he died. Question. The man who died, and as you said, was the one who simply follows the instruction from the upper echelon of Angka, and from overwork he died. Did Angka organize any traditional ritual of what happened to his corpse? What kind of arrangement was made by Angka when he died? Answer. You can forget about any traditional ritual for the death. There was no cadre who came up with such an arrangement, even if the village chief did not care about his dead body, and only us who knew him would quietly weep. We felt pity for him that he sacrificed everything for Angka, and at the end he died, and nobody cared when he died. And everybody minded his or her own business at the time. We just tried to work in order to survive. And the mother of the dead person only had another child survive. Question. I'd like to put more question to you in relation to the document E3/4790 at Khmer ERN 00582096, and in French 00967208. in English 00940142. You said that there was a preparatory line near the work site, and one Khmer Rouge stood guard. And there were many of them in standing guard along the line, 10 meters apace. Were they armed? Answer: yes, they were there in order to watch over the workers and to avoid, to prevent workers from escaping the work site, or to deter workers from staying too long in the forest when they went to relieve themselves. And when we had to relieve ourselves or to pay, we could not go anywhere further from where they were standing. So sometimes we had to pee just very in close proximity to where they were. Because if we were a bit far, then they would shout at us and instructed us to return. Question: you said the soldiers were standing guard in a preparatory line in order to prevent workers from going elsewhere. Did you witness any worker who violated that instruction? Answer: as for the new people, no, they didn't violate any instructions. They were so afraid. However, some old people did cross the line. But the new ones, no, they were so afraid of the Khmer Rouge. Old people had a bit more right. They could go, for example, 10 or 20 meters far from the lines that they were standing guard. But the new people didn't dare do so. Question: in relation to the two kinds of people, that is the old people or the best people and the new people, and yesterday you also said that new people were not allowed to hold any position, namely a unit chief position. Can you tell the court, did the Khmer Rouge treat the old people and the new people differently? And if so, how? Answer: if the old people made a minor mistake, the old people could provide justification to the Khmer Rouge, but this did not apply to the new people. The new people were under tremendous pressure. And if a new person was accused of a wrongdoing, and although he or she didn't commit it, the person would remain quiet, did not dare to protest or to provide any justification in order to survive. Question: I refer to the same document at the Khmer year end 0058 2097 in English, in French rather 09672009, and in English 00940142 and I'd like to make a quote from your statement. When the work near the national road was not completed yet, they withdrew forces to help block water at the tributary. They kept mobile forces to break rock there. Everyone had wounds from the feet to the knees because they were hit by rock chips that flew up. And my question to you, how did you know that? Answer. That is the truth. That's what happened. Those young men were from my village, and that's how I knew about it. They wore shorts, and the rock fragments flew and hit their legs. That's why they had wounds all over their legs. If Onka could observe the situation and provided them with with trousers, then the condition would be better, but that was not the case. And they didn't receive any treatment for the wounds on their legs. They had to pick tree leaves and patch those wounds. It was a pitiful situation, and the only liquid or medicinal liquid that was given to them was the liquid from the orange bottle. And as for us, we only had a pair of clothes that we were wearing every day, and some people were lucky to have 2 pairs of pants. And as for the sarong that we wore, they were meant with patches. And we washed it with only the river water. There was no soap to wash our clothes. And if they considered that we looked too clean, then they would accuse us of being in the upper class from the upper regime or from the feudalist class, for example. And they said that during the Khmer Rouge regime, there were only 2 classes of people, that is the peasants class and the laborers class, so that we could not be too clean, otherwise we would be criticized.
Counsel, thank you. You stated just now about clothes. When you were working at the 1st January dam site, did Khmer Rouge cadres provide you with clothes? Did you receive sufficient clothes to wear? Answer. When I arrived at that place, I was given a piece of clothes to make trousers and shirts to wear. I had to take care of my clothes, although we used our clothes to wear during the time that we were working. I had only 2 sets of clothes. It was a terrible situation for me. And as for women, they had periods, and the female get period, and we had to wash the period away with the river, water from the river. Sometimes our trousers were wet while we were working. We had no sanitary pads. And when we saw each other that someone was having a period, and then we told those people to go to the river to cleanse the period away by using the river water from the river. Council. I would like to move on concerning the Khmer caterers. Did they know that you did not have such material, namely sanitary pads, to use while you were working there? And did Khmer caterers know about the situation you experienced? Answer. Our supervisor knew nothing at all. They did not know the difficulty of female situation. And when we were working away from the river, we had to carry earth with the stain of the periods on our trousers. We did not have time to clean it. And as you may be aware, usually on one particular day, the period would come in large amounts. Council. Thank you, Madam Civil Party. I would like to go back to your statement in the same document. Eon in Khmer is at 0058 2095. English 0096 72072086. Council. English 009401 44. You stated that male and female workers were not allowed to talk to each other, even they were siblings. Could you tell the court who gave such order and why? The village chief told us, and the unit chief would also tell us. We were warned to be not involved in the moral offenses. Even we are siblings, we could not stand talking to each other. If we were spotted, we were told that we would be arrested. We were prohibited to talk to each other. While we were working, militiamen and soldiers would stand guard near the place where we were working. I know this because soldiers arrested two siblings while they were talking together. the soldier warned the two siblings not to talk to each other, and the two siblings were told that even you were siblings, you could not stand and talk to each other. I saw that incident and I was trembled. I thought why they were so unkind. I mean, why the cadres were so unkind. They were siblings. Why not allow them to talk to each other? So the condition was becoming stricter. Counsel, thank you. While you were working at the 1st January dam site, did you ever see any senior leaders or foreign delegates come to visit the dam site? Answer, yes. I saw Laotian delegates. I heard the announcement that Laotian delegates came to visit the place. They were fed Laotian delegates. And on another occasion, I saw Nepal delegates coming to visit the place. I was told and instructed to welcome those delegates, and the base people told me that Tapok was there at the dam site during that visit. I do not recall well for the first visit while I was working. On that day, we were told over the loudspeaker that there would be foreign delegates coming to our place. Why? I knew there were Laotian and Nepal delegates coming to visit the dam site because I heard the announcement over the loudspeakers telling us that Laotian and Nepal delegates would come to our place. Counsel, thank you. Could you tell the court when the Khmer Rouge senior leaders and foreign delegates came to the dam site, what did they do there? Did they also participate in the work? Answer. I saw them walking while I was carrying dirt. Everyone was staring and looking at those people because we saw them in their good-looking dress and they had nice bags. They were fat. They were well dressed. Counsel, thank you. I would like to refer back to the document in Khmer Iran is at 0058-2097, French Iran 0096-7209, English 0094-01-43. In your statement, you stated that there was a film shooting at the dam site. What did you see during that time? Were you also working during the time that there was a film shooting? Could you give the detailed information to the court about film shooting? Answer. I was working, I was carrying dirt while the film was being shot. There was an announcement over the loudspeaker to encourage us to work even harder. They used a pole, and the camera was attached to that long pole, and we were being shot. Everyone was told to carry dirt as quickly as possible, and we were told to work as harder as we could. We were instructed to work actively as depicted in the slogan or saying of the Khmer Rouge in that period. I also want to see the film which was shot on that day. We were working very, very hard on that day. Unit chief, group chiefs was standing and instructing all of us to work harder. I heard shoutings and screaming from those chiefs. We were instructed to be very active, and we were warned not to stand still. Some people would use the hose to get the dirt onto the basket. Counsel, thank you. In relation to your father, you stated that your father and your two younger siblings were sent to work at the 1st January dam site. I would like to refer to the same document, that is document E3/4790 EON in Khmer 0058/2097, French 0096/7209, English 0094/0142. In your statement, your father was taken to be killed at Barai Chondai Pagoda. What did you know about Barai Chondai Pagoda? Answer. I heard people say about it. I never approached that pagoda. I heard people saying that people were killed at Barai Chondai Pagoda. Counsel, thank you, Madam Civil Party. In your same statement, on the same page, you know about this because your siblings told you that your father was taken away and killed. Did your younger sibling witness that incident, or did they heard from others? How did they know? Answer. On that day, it was an coincidence. I had an abdominal pain. I made a request to take a rest because of that illness, and my request was granted by my unit chief, and I returned to my sleeping quarter. My younger siblings witnessed that incident. They were told that my father was asked and told to carry locks. Militiamen came to call my father. My younger sibling witnessed that incident and they knew about it. I was working, however, on that day I was sick because of my period. I was sleeping at night time, and the day after, my two younger siblings came to tell me that my father was taken away and killed, and he did not return. I told them that they had to try to work. We could not weep because we were so shocked. We now lost our father. I told my younger sibling. I told my younger sibling that we did not have time to pay our gratitude to our father yet, and now he was gone. I tried not to weep and sob while I was working. I was consoled by my colleagues that I had to bear the situation and work hard. Counsel, thank you. I have one more question in relation to your younger sibling, Hon Sok Goma. You stated that your younger sibling was so shocked, and as a result, this younger sibling fell sick. How was he at the time? How old was he at the time? Answer. He was about 12 or 13 years old at that time. Villagers who would come and go to my place told him that my father was taken away and killed. He collapsed on the way he went to work. He became conscious by himself. No one was there to help him. He told me that my father was taken away in April, and my younger siblings fell sick and died later in May. He told me that when I learned that our father was taken away, I had no feeling to work. I collapsed and I could not go to work. At that time I was asked to go and tend cows. On that day, I was working. However, I made a request to go home, and I was asked why. I told my superior that I miss my father so terribly. I did not have a feeling to work. And as for my youngest sibling, he was sick and hospitalized in Kampong Thomor Hospital. I did not know about the time that my younger sibling was hospitalized. My mother told me about it. I went to visit my younger sibling for a brief moment, which was about 10 minutes, and I was back to work. When I was at the hospital, I could not even recognize my mother. She was so skinny. And after the visit, I went back home. Later, a few days later, I heard a message from my mother, which was told by someone that my younger sibling already perished. We had no time and rights to celebrate any funeral ritual for my younger sibling. Counsel, thank you, Madam. I have two last questions. The first one concerns your two younger siblings who were assigned to work at the dam site. They are Hun Koltida and Hun Sotirat. What happened to them? Did they survive the period? Answer. My younger sibling or siblings was accused of stealing a skirt and put in his or her backpack. Someone at my younger sibling work site was jealous, and I did not believe in that accusation because my younger brother or sister would not steal the skirt and put in his or her own backpack. And there was someone in the village try to defend the accusation for my younger sibling, and he or she could survive the period. Everyone knew that for new person, he or she did not dare to steal belongings or anything in that period. So the base person blames my younger sibling for that kind of thefts. And there were many people defended my younger sibling at that time. These people believe that my younger sibling did not do such a bad thing. If the accusation was correct at that time, my younger sibling would be killed. Counsel, thank you, Madam Civil Party. I would like to seek the floor for my colleague. President, thank you. You may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to all of you. Good morning to the Civil Party. I have one follow-up question to put to you regarding the hospital you just spoke about and where you saw your mother. I wanted to know if you could describe this hospital, that is to say the hospital in Kampong Tmall. Could you explain to us what the hospital was like, what you remember of the hospital?
Answer. The hospital was once a school. And that hospital was not in a good condition, and the floor was not built from cement. And the sick would be sent from Varai to that hospital, and the hospital was named Punarye District Hospital. All sick people would be referred to that hospital. The sick and those who were well were of the same shape because they were skinny and bony. I have no idea about medicine. I paid a brief visit at that hospital when my younger sibling was there. It was about 10 minutes later I left that hospital.
Thank you. When you tell us that the hospital was not made out of stone or brick, can you be a bit more specific?
Answer. It was once a school, and it was built from wooden planks as for the wall, and the roof was from leaves. And as I said, it was not good in good condition. There were a few beds for several patients, and those who did not have a bed the patient who did not have bed to sleep in, they would sleep on the floor. As I stated earlier, I have no idea about medicines at that hospital. I paid a very brief visit at that place, and I did not know whether patient was given injection or medicines.
Thank you, Civil Party. I have no further questions, Mr. President.
President, thank you. The floor is now given to the co-prosecutors to put question to this witness. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone in and around the courtroom. Good morning, Madam Sethani. I have a very few questions, and after that I would give the floor to my colleague.
While you were working at the first January dam work site, did you see any women who were pregnant and were working there? Answer. In the area that I worked, there was no pregnant woman, and I cannot say whether there were in the other units. Question. And what did you know about other units, if there were any pregnant women? Or if what was the work arrangement for pregnant women? Answer. There was no difference made to any different types of workers. Everyone was under the same working condition. My father was very concerned about me, as I was already married, and he advised me not to have any children yet. It would be too risky for any woman to be pregnant at a time, regardless of their being a best person or a new person. How could we expect to be pregnant and to take care of the baby when there was nothing at all for us? And if any woman who happened to be pregnant, and it would be fortunate for her to deliver her baby. Question. You said at the first January dam, people from 3 sectors were gathered to work there. And do you know how many workers in total working at the dam work site? Of course, you cannot give us an exact number, but can you provide an estimate? Answer. There were many workers, as all workers from the 3 sectors are combined, and to my estimate, there were tens of thousands of workers. People from sectors 41, 42, and 43 were gathered to work there. For instance, some forces were assigned to patch the river, and some were assigned to break rocks. So there were crowds of people working at the work site. Question. In terms of your daily work quota, who made that determination as how much work you had to work per day? Answer. We had a group chief and a unit chief who made the arrangement. Of course, we were not allowed to sit idle. there was always work for us to do. So that the work had to be done quickly and that we had to try our best to do the work. Question. Can you tell us how many people were in a group and in a unit? Answer. I know for sure about the women from my village, as there were 50 of us, and there were between 30 to 40 men from my village. And for the second mobile unit, there were more than 10 workers. The total number of workers varied, as sometimes more forces were sent from the village, and sometimes the village required certain workers to return to work at the village. Question. A while ago, the lawyer for civil parties asked you a question about the person who was overall in charge. And did the person take any measure or any preventative measure for those who overworked at the work site? And you said that the cadres there did not care. Can you tell the court whether the cadre actually knew about the working condition, about the shortage of food, etc., but they did not care, or did they not know about the shortage? Answer. In practice, for instance, a female unit chief would know about the menstrual cycle of female workers, but the male unit chief did not know anything about that and did not care about it. And only when his subordinates fell sick and could not work, then the patients will be sent for treatment at the village. Question. Am I correct then in saying that the Khmer Rouge cadres knew about the condition of the workers there, but they did not care or pay attention to it? And they did not care at all. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to request your permission to hand the floor to my international colleague. President, thank you. Anyway, it is a convenient time for a short break. We'll take a break now and resume at 10:30. Court officer, please assist the civil party in the waiting room for civil parties and witnesses during the break, and invite her as well as the TPRO staff back into the courtroom at 10:30. The court is now in recess.